Imagine you're on trial for stealing, and you're appointed a lawyer because you couldn't afford one. Would you feel confident in leaving your case in the hands of an unprepared lawyer? The majority would say no, because they want the best quality of work. The editorial board from a New York Times article, Federal Courts in Crisis, explained that Congress's budget cuts affect the judiciary as a whole, but failed to examine how these effects affect public defenders. My main argument is that the editorial board should have elaborated on how these effects affect public defenders through three arguments. The first, public defenders' workload outweighs their quality of service. Second, public defenders lack appropriate resources. And finally, a defendant's constitutional right to a speedy and efficient trial is ultimately violated. Lawyers are essential, especially to those who can't afford one. When lawyers are forced to juggle immense amount of cases, their work will not be good. Lawrence Benner, author of an American Constitutional Society article, says that the American Bar Association claims that 150 felony cases or 400 misdemeanor cases is the max a lawyer can handle per year. However, some handle up to 177 felony cases plus others from different courts. Lawyers are compelled to accept cases beyond the recommended limits. Although the editorial board said that Congress's budget cuts affect lawyers, they failed to examine how. Mark Greenblatt, author of a Houston article, quoted the former director of a public defender's office in Washington, D.C., who said it raises all kinds of risks. These risks include missing deadlines, forgetting trials, and not spending enough time with clients and their cases. Although lawyers refuse to admit it, they do need help. Resources are very important because they provide proper assistance to the lawyer. The Bureau of Justice Assistance says that many lawyers are forced to represent too many clients with not enough resources. These cuts affect the lawyers in that they are unable to hire investigators, they are unable to hire paralegals and personal assistants, and are unable to enlist the expert testimonies of those who will promote their cases in court. There are also non-tangible resources such as time, energy, etc. Time is what keeps the lawyer on schedule, and energy is what keeps the lawyer focused and alert and can't be solved by chugging a Red Bull. Congress must take public defenders into serious consideration. Without proper workload management and appropriate resources, a defendant's constitutional right is ultimately at risk. Without the proper funds, lawyers infringe on the rights of their client. Lawrence Benner says that this violation occurs when the counsel is prevented from providing proper assistance in a critical stage. This critical stage involves talking with clients, investigating, and compiling evidence in a timely fashion. The Sixth Amendment states that in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. All people have this constitutional right. Mark Greenblatt says that when you are tried, you have the right to attorney even if you can't afford one. When lawyers are unable to prepare, they ultimately jeopardize their client's constitutional right. The editorial board failed to mention all of these harmful effects. The judiciary is affected as a whole, but public defenders suffer the most. It is universally agreed that no one will willingly relinquish their constitutional right. Our Constitution was built upon a democratic nation. When lawyers can't properly prepare for their case, they diminish the right of their client. This speech highlighted the editorial board's lack of attention on public defenders through three arguments. The first, public defenders' workload outweighs their quality of service. Second, public defenders lack appropriate resources. And finally, a defendant's constitutional right is ultimately violated. Lawyers are our voice in the courts, But without proper resources and proper workload management, even their voice can be stifled.